Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, on Long Island, Long Island's largest rock salt source. And if we get this flash freeze tomorrow, you're probably going to need some of that, or maybe some of the snow and ice melt products out there. The great ones like Mag Ice Pellets and Flakes and Pellido, and of course, in time, a new snowblower or any other supplies to get you through adverse winter weather, especially with those winds. Probably going to be some power outages. 631-756-1125, the phone number for the best prices anywhere. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. So our storm is underway. We have a ton of watches and warnings out across the country. The storm is having big impact, not only with winter weather, but with uh, heavy rain, strong winds, and coastal flooding. We have flood watches up as well in parts of the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic states. Winter weather advisories in central Pennsylvania, down into Western Virginia. Winter storm warnings all around the lakes, and a smattering of blizzard warnings in Michigan, back in Iowa, parts of Minnesota, South and North Dakota, and across the South. Wind chill advisories, bitter cold air coming all the way down into parts of the southeast and the interior areas of the Gulf states, and cold air is going to make it all the way down into central Florida. That's how far the extent of all of this is. So, taking a look at the satellite, you can see a ton of clouds covering much of the eastern part of the eastern half of the United States, all moving to the northeast. So everything is moving along according to plan here. Heavy rains have developed now as of 1:30 Eastern Time. They've reached New York City, at least the leading edge of the rain has. In Pennsylvania, northeast Pennsylvania, back through central Pennsylvania, there's snow and sleet going on that's going to change over to rain. And then you see heavier rains down through Maryland, southern New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, and into North Carolina. All of that is going to move to the northeast. And back to the west, this arm is the Arctic front, and with it, there is snow behind it and a rapid fall in temperatures. You go from being reasonable to unreasonable in a big hurry, and that's going to be the tricky part of the forecast in the Northeast tomorrow and the northern mid-Atlantic states will be when does the precipitation cut off and when does that 32-degree line come in, and the 20-degree line comes shortly after that. It's just going to move very fast. You're going to see 30-degree temperature drops in a span of the 3, 4, 5 hours tops, and the temperature is just going to keep dropping as we move through Friday night and into the morning of Christmas Eve. So, just going to take you through a couple of things here. Uh, just to describe the race in terms of temperatures, the 32-degree line is this dashed blue line that's cutting through central Pennsylvania. Each one of these lines, the red, the solid red, and the solid blue, represents 5 degrees of actual temperature. And we're looking at 7 o'clock Friday morning. So we have 35, 40, 45, the 50-degree line cutting right across Long Island and running just offshore the 45-degree line along the Pennsylvania New Jersey border and kind of snaking down into Delaware. The freezing line is in central PA. It's not even to Harrisburg yet, but look how quickly it moves. This is 8 a.m., 9, 10, 11, noon, 1 a.m., 1 p.m. So by 1 p.m., the 32-degree line is at New York City, and the 20-degree line is touching the New Jersey Pennsylvania border down to about Lancaster and then down into Maryland. And then as we move past 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m., now we've got the 32-degree line offshore, and it's also offshore of Boston. And we've got 30, 25, the 20-degree line cutting across Long Island and coastal New Jersey. The 15-degree line is sitting near New York City. So that is a very big temperature drop that we're seeing in about 4 or 5 hours time. So then the question from here becomes, okay, when does the precipitation cut off? And that is also a big question, a big problem here in trying to determine whether there's going to be a flash freeze. So here we are with the rain coming up tonight. The gradient gets tight. We're going to see southerly winds gusting to 40 or even 50 miles an hour, especially from New York City east across New England. And the wind issues will be all the way up in through New England. Then we get to tomorrow morning. This is at 7 a.m. That first batch of rain is gone. There's a bit of a break. And then you see an arm of rain from western New York down into Maryland and Virginia. This is a cold front. This is the Arctic boundary that's moving east and moving east very rapidly. So we'll have winds going from south to southwest and eventually to west and northwest. And you see the precipitation there at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's raining again in New Jersey. It's changing over to snow in eastern Pennsylvania. This is noon. And there might even be a thunderstorm or two when that, by the way, when that Arctic front goes by. This is noon. This is 1 p.m. So the rain is ending over the area at somewhere between say 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. and those 32-degree temperatures follow shortly afterwards. So there'll be a lot of standing moisture around. It will probably ice up, and that's going to make the commute tomorrow night very difficult. It's a big travel day tomorrow going into the Christmas weekend, and it's going to be a problem. And then after that, it's just going to turn very cold in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. We're going to see temperatures drop down into the teens, single digits to mid-teens Friday night into Saturday morning. And then on Saturday, it'll still be windy with ineffective sunshine. Highs will just be barely back into the 20s. Another night of temperatures down in the single digits and teens for Saturday night, and Sunday, Christmas Day, will be a day where we will have sunshine, maybe a little bit less wind, and temperatures running only in the 20s. This is probably going to be the coldest Christmas we've seen in the northern mid-Atlantic states to southern New England since 1989. So we get this rain. We're going to see the wind shift, temperatures falling rapidly, rain coming to an end. Maybe it ends as a little bit of snow, temperatures falling well below freezing, standing moisture is going to get iced up. Snows around the Great Lakes, a big lake effect event for western New York again, although I don't think it'll be of the same magnitude snow-wise, but they're going to get 70-mile-an-hour winds out of this in western New York around that low, which by Friday evening is very strong and sitting just on the north shore of Lake Huron. Longer range, the good news is that this storm is, once it's done, we're done with winter weather for a while. Certainly all of next week to me looks pretty quiet overall. We'll have moderating temperatures. Much of the country will not have very much in the way of cold air around. And we probably won't see any rain around here again of consequence until, well, maybe sometime on New Year's Day, because that's when the next cold front of consequence looks to move on through. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So here's one last look at the satellite, seeing some thunderstorms popping up in parts of North Carolina as it moves northward. And here are the watches and warnings map from the Weather Service. The Joe and Joe Show tonight at its usual time, 7:35. We'll go through all of this with you. So by all means, please tune in. We'll see you tonight.